simple man, trying hard to understand. Where's my place in your great plan? Oh Lord, help this man. Lord, I am just a simple man.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على الرسول الصادق الأمين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam from all around the world, welcome to a new live episode of our program, One Step Closer. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given me this opportunity to be with you this Ramadan live in your living rooms and in your homes, and I thank you for joining us here this evening. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We're just 5 days into the month of Ramadan, but subhanAllah, the time flies, and the time is going to pass before we know it. And I want to ask you, before we begin talking about tonight's topic, how are you doing this Ramadan? Are you feeling that this Ramadan is different from the other Ramadans that you have witnessed in your life? Maybe you have witnessed Ramadan last year as a non-Muslim, and this is the first year that you're witnessing it as a Muslim. Or maybe it's the first year that you're witnessing as a person who is a practicing Muslim. SubhanAllah. Or maybe you've witnessed a few other Ramadans in your life before, but inshallah you have the intention to make this Ramadan the best Ramadan ever. And that's what we came here, and remember from the first day we took that intention, that inshallah ta'ala we want to make this Ramadan the best Ramadan ever, inshallah. Before we get into the topic that we want to talk about tonight, I would like to comment on yesterday's topic. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, yesterday's topic, I didn't think that it was going to be as intense as it was, and that we'll get so many reactions from brothers and sisters. But Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, great response. We got many phone calls. I'm sorry we weren't able to take all your phone calls yesterday. A subject that really hits the heart, something that relates to our everyday life. And of course, the topic was about movies. It was about all the soap operas that are coming out exclusively in Ramadan for the first time, when many types of different channels, we're looking at Hollywood, Bollywood, Nollywood, all these types of woods. And we said it's really a firewood. A wood that we would become the people of the hellfire, and we would burn inside of our hearts and on the Day of Judgment because of watching these things. And we talked about all the harms and things like that. And bi'idhnillah ta'ala, my dear brothers and sisters, in this segment we're going to talk about something totally different. But I do want to talk with Sheikh Zain, my guest, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, who was with me yesterday and he's here with me today, a little bit about yesterday's topic. We'll share a couple of comments and a couple of thoughts, inshallah, and then we'll get into the great topic that we're talking about tonight, a topic called, well, I'll tell you in just a moment, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother.
How are you doing this evening?
Well, alhamdulillah.
I want to tell you that it feels just like yesterday, but it was yesterday, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that we're here. It's a great opportunity. Let me talk with you a little bit about yesterday's program. I know you followed some of the comments on Facebook from brothers and sisters, and I did the same. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I feel that it had a very positive impact. As we said, these movies, these sitcoms, these soap operas are really a poison that gets inside of our hearts. And as one brother said yesterday, a very amazing statement, it doesn't only affect the Muslim individual, it affects very much the entire Muslim ummah. So I want to share a poll with you that we took. This was actually before the show. We took this poll yesterday. And alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, subhanAllah, we got a lot of responses from brothers and sisters. This is a joint poll that we do between One Step Closer, Huda TV, and iloveallah.com, which is the biggest Muslim Facebook page on Facebook. It's the biggest Muslim page on Facebook. More than 7 million people who like that page, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So we took this poll. Let me look at the results. So we asked brothers and sisters, do you watch movies, soap operas, and sitcoms? And 79% said yes, we do. Alhamdulillah, at least we're honest. 21% said no. Your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, I expected this type of thing because a lot of us have, well, the satellite dish has become a necessity in every household these days. But yeah, I mean, that number of people watching, it didn't surprise me too much.
But the good news, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, is as you saw on Facebook, brothers and sisters, a lot of brothers and sisters who said this is a life-changing episode in their life. That inshallah they're going to stop these types of haram movies and sitcoms and soap operas and things like that. So alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Yeah, I was so happy, brother. I like to check out the Facebook page and see just what people say about the program and if they liked it. And I was amazed, brother, and very happy, so happy to see people basically saying that, yes, that's right, you've reminded us and we're going to leave these things and try. Even one sister was talking about cartoons and Islamic cartoons and I mean, it was really
alternatives.
Yeah, it was really pleasing to see, and especially in the month of Ramadan. It's the best month to make a change.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah. My dear brothers and sisters, let's switch gears and talk about tonight's topic. Tonight's topic, as we said, is another step, one step closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's a very touching topic and a very practical topic, something that we can all do beginning tonight. And technically speaking, it doesn't take that much effort to do. But the rewards for it are absolutely, absolutely great. The title of tonight's episode, my dear brothers and sisters, is called Seize the Freebies. Seize the Freebies. What are we talking about? We're talking about, my dear brothers and sisters, a great concept in Islam. A concept that says that if you make an intention for the actions that you do, that you will get multiple rewards. Even if these actions are everyday habits that you do. Let me repeat that. Even if these actions are everyday habits that are not technically a form of worship like standing in prayer or like fasting or something like that, things that we do every day. For example, sleep is the easiest example. We all sleep, okay? We won't be able to survive for 2 days if we didn't sleep. But how many of us make an intention when we go to sleep, something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When we do that, my dear brothers and sisters, then what's going to happen? We get rewarded for it. Inshallah, my dear brothers and sisters, we're going to, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, start taking your phone calls in just a moment. So let me remind you with our phone numbers, 002-0238-555, 248 or 249, inshallah. And you can also call us on Skype at Huda_TV. Huda_TV. We can discuss this concept, my dear brothers and sisters, and I want your thoughts and your comments about it and your questions about it. How can we make our everyday habits, things that we normally do anyway, be in our scale of good deeds on the Day of Judgment, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and we get multiple rewards. We have Brother Abu Radwan from India. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Abu Radwan, assalamu alaikum. Looks like the Skype call was cut off. Inshallah, try inshallah to give us a call back. Jazakallah khair. Sheikh Zain, this concept of freebies, I call them freebies because we really have to do something very small inside of our hearts, which is make an intention and be conscious of that intention in order for us to get so many good deeds. And someone might tell me, why are you calling them freebies if we actually do have to do something? Well, this is how I think about it, okay? I like basketball. So it's just like basketball. In the basketball, you have a free throw, right?
Yeah.
You are doing something, you are throwing the ball, but it's really a free throw because it's so easy to score if you are an okay player, not even a professional player, if you're an okay player. So that's why, my dear brothers and sisters, this is something that we can all do. Making an intention for every single action that we do, whether that action is something that we habitually do, like for example, sleep, and we're going to talk about many other examples, or making the right intention for the things that we're required to do, like our salah, for example, like making wudu. For example, Sheikh Zain, making wudu is something that's great, but we only take maybe one intention for it, or no intentions at all, right? We can say, for example, that, okay, I'm making wudu for the intention of prayer, but we can also take another intention. We're making wudu for the intention of cleansing our sins, of being sin-free. Talk to us about this concept.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Brother, when we're talking about turning habits into acts of worship, we're talking about what you mentioned. We're talking about being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout our entire life. Through small acts of worship, through small things that we add to our daily habits or daily routines, we can use this to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَافْعَلُوا خَيْرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Yani, do good deeds in order that you may reach happiness or attain happiness. Who would not want to be happy? Happy in this life, our hearts are mutama'in, our hearts are comfortable with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with our love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life, and of course, reaping the rewards in the afterlife is the happiness that we will reach after our death. And this is something that is very important.
Yes. Jazakallah khair. Let me take this phone call real quick from Brother Faisal from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Faisal is calling us through Skype. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Hello.
Yes, Brother Faisal, I can hear you. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Faisal. I can hear the typing. He's typing to one of our brothers in the control room. Okay, inshallah, we'll continue our discussion. Inshallah, we'll be able to talk to Brother Faisal in just a moment, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So you're saying reaping the rewards in the hereafter. SubhanAllah, a person can come on the Day of Judgment and he sees in his scale of good deeds a lot of actions. And then he may ask, I didn't do these actions in the dunya, right? And then he would be answered that you made an intention for these actions. Even if you didn't get a chance to actually do them, but you had made a real intention. Not a fake intention, not the intention of, oh, I will do such and such in the future, but a real intention. We can reach, Sheikh Zain, as you know, with our intentions, what we can never reach with our actions. And that is the nature of the human being, subhanAllah. Nature of the human being is that his dreams are always bigger than the reality that he actually achieves. So if we're able to dream, but in the right way, by making the right intention, then bi'idhnillah ta'ala we'll be able to reach this great reality, which is the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, great good deeds, and the forgiveness of sin, and obviously entering Jannah bi'idhnillah ta'ala.
That's right, brother. I mean, the Sahaba were named in the Quran as the Sabiqun, the ones who were racing, and they were racing each other and also racing themselves, trying every day to find something new that they could put into their lives to gain rewards for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what it's all about. Getting yourself closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, closer to happiness, closer to Jannah, closer to the real life, not this life, this worldly life, but the hereafter. And through these small deeds is at least one way how we can get closer.
Yes, take one step closer.
That's right, brother. Ibn Qayyim has said that the habits of those who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are acts of worship. And the acts of worship of those who are far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are habits. So those who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their whole life is worship. They're worshipping throughout their life. One example, brother, that I could give you is, for example, everybody leaves the home. Everybody goes out of the home and goes somewhere. Okay? Along the way, you will find all sorts of people when you go outside of your house.
Yes.
Poor people, rich people, whatever. What is stopping us from before we go out, that we keep a jar of coins, a jar of money, that we keep especially for giving sadaqah when we go out of the house. So we could take that and put it in our pocket and make the intention that this money especially is for the poor people that I confront when I am out.
Yes.
Maybe you don't confront poor people, but you can put it in a box of sadaqah, in a box of charity, or wherever you are. This is just one example of what we can do to gain rewards. We will actually be reaping the reward the whole time that we are doing that, because we're consciously making that decision to do something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do something for the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So in essence, we can divide up this topic that we're talking about into two parts. Okay, the first part is things that we were commanded to do in Islam, like for example prayer, like wudu, like sadaqah, as you gave an example. Making sure we have an intention while we're doing them so that we can get the full reward for them. Okay, that's one side.
Yeah.
Now the other side is the habitual actions that any human being, whether that person is Muslim or not Muslim, for example, two examples is sleep, and another example is having a relationship with one's wife or one's husband. Okay, two things that all human beings do, right? Making an intention for that you're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we'll talk about inshallah in a practical way how we can do that we're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that way we'll be able to get rewards for that too. For example, sleep is very easy, right? If I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to sleep 6 or 7 or 8 hours, I can make an intention that I want to wake up for Fajr. That I'm sleeping so I can get my body rested so I can wake up for Fajr. I can also make another intention, that I'm sleeping so that I am taking care of the body that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left as a trust with me. I can also make an intention that I'm sleeping so I can wake up, so I can go to work, so I can be able to provide for my family. And when I provide for my family, then everything that I do is a sadaqah, and everything that I bring home, the money, the food, everything is a sadaqah. And just sleep, 3 rewards right there. So, subhanAllah.
These are things, brother, that all of us can do. These are things that all of us do.
Yes.
But we do it unconsciously.
That's beautiful. These are things that we do. Exactly, we do. We have this video that I think inshallah is going to explain the concept a lot better for brothers and sisters than if we continue talking for the next 2 hours. Sometimes drama has its effect, and we talked about the bad effects of drama yesterday. Now let's talk about the good effects inshallah. So my dear brothers and sisters, take a look at this video, and inshallah we'll talk about it after we come back. It's relating to tonight's topic, the topic of intentions, the topic of changing the everyday habits, the things that we do, whether they are forms of worship and we're changing them to get good deeds, or they're everyday things that are not really technically a form of worship, changing them into forms of worship. Let's take a look and we'll come back inshallah.
I am just a simple man, trying hard to understand.
Have you ever wondered why you always reach for the same mug when you want to make a cup of coffee? Why your father has a designated spot in the lounge room, and although it's never been said, everyone knows that's Dad's spot. Have you realized that you usually do the same thing every morning, and your day pans out in a set and structured routine like it does every other day? If you track your day and your week, you'll come to the realization that man is a creature of habit, which tends to make a life a little dull at times. Even our dua, our tasbih and our prayer are in a routine. We read the same surah from the Quran in every prayer. We make the same tasbih in our ruku' and our sujood. Another worship, another chore, another routine. Take a minute, right now, right this second, reflect about your last prayer. Which surah did you read in the first ruk'ah after Al-Fatiha? Did you even think about which surah you were going to read? Can you even remember what surah you read? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, after أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها. Let's pose a question, shall we? When you make wudu, what is your intention? We posed this question to a sample of Muslims in Sydney. 58% said, my intention is to make wudu. 42% said, my intention when making wudu is to pray. They seem like the obvious choice, don't they? Imagine putting your mind out of the habitual routine of making wudu. Imagine making wudu with more than one intention. Increase your intentions for wudu by making the intention to prepare for prayer, to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do what He has ordered you to do, to follow the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and also to wash away your sins. All of a sudden, you are conscious of your intentions, you have increased your rewards, you're in tune with your Creator, and out of the thoughtless routine. This is for wudu. How about the prayer? What's stopping us from being dynamic in our prayers? Maybe the same thoughtless routine that was the barrier in our wudu, or the excuses we always pull out of our hat like, I don't have time, it's too hard, I don't know Arabic, I can never be like the companions radiallahu anhum. Or maybe we're just not aware that our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was quite dynamic in his prayer. Why not learn more of the Quran and read the surahs other than Surah Al-Ikhlas in every ruk'ah? Jabir radiallahu anhu reported that Muhammad ﷺ said, the most excellent prayer is that in which the duration of standing is longer. The hadith is found in Bukhari. Let's learn Surah Tabarak, Surah Al-Qiyamah, Surah Al-Waqi'ah or Surah Al-Rahman. You don't know Arabic or you can't memorize quick enough? Even a few verses a week will do the job. Find the solution. This is your prayer.
Lord, I am just a simple man trying hard to.
Welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters. This video tells it all. It says everything about what we're talking about. Changing our everyday habits, even if these things are technically forms of worship, into real forms of worship. Forms of worship with multiple rewards so that we can seize the freebies. My dear brothers and sisters, people will come on the Day of Judgment and they will be begging. Begging, literally begging. Not for money, but for one good deed. One more good deed. So I can escape from the hellfire and so I can be amongst those who entered the Jannah. One good deed, my dear brothers and sisters. There's something that you can do with your heart tonight that will get you multiple good deeds. More good deeds than I can feel my heart beating right now. More good deeds than the beats in my heart per minute. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies for whomever He wishes up to 700 times and even more. We are, my dear brothers and sisters, in a month of change, a month of great blessing. So let us take advantage of it, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and one way we can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one way we can get closer to Jannah is through this. Changing something very easy. I'm not asking you tonight to do anything new. All I'm telling you to do, the things that you do, make an intention for them, and do them better, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. As we saw in the video, instead of only reading Surah Al-Ikhlas, which is of course a great surah in the Quran, read more surahs, try to learn more Quran. Get away from all the excuses. Making wudu, Sheikh Zain. See how many intentions the brother was able to get out of making wudu, for example? SubhanAllah.
Yeah, SubhanAllah. Allah reward them for their efforts there. It sounded quite familiar, the accent there too.
Exactly, the accent is very familiar. Obviously, mashallah, brothers from Australia. Before we continue, allow me to take this phone call from brother Al-Amin from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing, brother? I think you've been trying to call us for a couple of days. Every time the phone line drops. So alhamdulillah, I'm glad we have you tonight with us, inshallah. Ramadan Mubarak to you, akhi.
I've been trying for the past 2 days now.
Yeah, I could tell, alhamdulillah. Your name sounds familiar, mashallah. Go ahead, brother. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, God. I have a comment.
Please.
Before I actually advise them on how to increase their sleep, I would like to just quote a verse from the Holy Quran.
Yes.
Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever does an atom weight of good deeds, will surely see. And whoever does an atom weight of bad deeds, will surely see.
Jazakallah khair.
As Muslims, there are certain good deeds, there are certain deeds which we usually neglect as Muslims, which are very important.
Yes.
Because our Prophet says, even removing harmful objects from the road, like part of sadaqah.
That's a sadaqah, yes.
It is mine, even if an ordinary smile to a fellow Muslim is also a sadaqah. So we should take advantage of such good deeds, and more especially during this period of Ramadan.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. Alhamdulillah.
Increase our deeds.
Barakallahu feek. Thank you so much, Brother Amin, for your participation. Beautiful, beautiful points. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Whoever does an atom's weight of good, it will be on the scale of good deeds, and he will see it on the Day of Judgment. Imagine doing that atom's weight of good deed and taking multiple intentions for it. You'll see it multiply on the Day of Judgment.
SubhanAllah. Could you imagine, brother, on the Day of Judgment when your scales, because we're talking about scales on the Day of Judgment. We're not talking about the amount of deeds.
Yes.
We're talking about the weight of the deeds.
Mm.
Can you imagine if your scales just tipped over and you were of those who were successful on the Day of Judgment? SubhanAllah, brother. There would be nothing better that you've ever heard than that news.
Yes.
That your scales have just tipped over and you've become of those who are the winners, the ones who will be in the paradise.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Give us some examples. I mentioned sleep. I mentioned having a relationship with one's wife. These are habitual things that any normal human being does, whether that person is Muslim or not Muslim. How can a Muslim person, of course, what are some of the examples of things that a Muslim person usually does in his life that can be transformed into forms of worship?
Okay, brother. I mean, one thing that I would advise is we all drive cars. Most of us, at least.
Yes.
We drive a car. And usually when you're driving a car, you're stuck in traffic, you're driving along, it takes time to get from one place to the other place. If we made the intention that we were driving to learn Quran, to practice our Quran, that I'm driving to work now, but actually my intention is that I'm going to revise Juz'am, for example, if you have learned Juz'am of the Quran. And when you're driving, you're revising the Juz'am, you're reciting it. Okay? Now the driving is no longer driving. Now the driving is ibadah. The driving is worship now. And this is something that, I have to say, this is something that I have done in myself, in my life. And this is something that many of the great Quran reciters today, even Abu Bakr al-Shatri, in Saudi Arabia, one of the most beautiful Quran reciters. I watched a program on him, and he does this every day. When he's driving, he's driving, revising his Quran when he's driving. That's just one thing.
SubhanAllah, especially most people, they're driving to and from work during rush hour, so they're stuck in traffic either way.
That's right.
Might as well make some good deeds out of it.
A lot of people, unfortunately, getting angry in that. But if you see somebody who's revising the Quran, this could even be good dawah. Somebody will see this guy, he's reciting this strange thing. But this is dawah, and it's also you could make the intention that you're doing it for dawah.
Yes.
And inshallah you'll be getting reward for that as well. I mean, this is just one example, brother. Other examples is you're going to the doctor, for example. This is a habit, this is a habit that we have to do sometimes. Go to the doctor, or take the wife to the doctor, or take the children to the doctor. Okay, when we're doing this, why don't we put our Quran in our pocket and make the intention that I'm going to the doctor, I'm going to have to wait there for about half an hour, because usually when you go to the doctor you have to wait. But I'm going to make the intention that I'm going to the doctor to revise my Quran, and while I'm waiting, instead of most people, when they go to a doctor, they flick through the magazines,
Yes.
and they look at the magazines, even if they're not interested. What a waste of time, first of all. I mean, if we made the intention that we are going to go there and revise our Quran, then first of all we'll be getting better in our Quran, we'll be getting the rewards from the Quran, and we're getting the reward for the intention of doing that. Even if we got there and it was and the doctor's surgery was empty and you were the first one in, you'd still get the reward just for the fact that you had the intention of doing that.
Jazakallah khair. My dear brothers and sisters, inshallah, feel free to continue giving us calls in this extended segment, inshallah, at 002 0238 555 248 or 249, inshallah. Again, the number is 002 0238 555 248 or 249, or through Skype at Huda_TV. Join us in this discussion and share your comments with us and your thoughts. Ask us your questions about tonight's topic. How can we change our everyday habits into forms of worship? And the best thing that you can call us and tell us about is specific examples of habitual things that all human beings do and how we can transform them into forms of worship. So maybe there's another brother or another sister who's watching who will benefit, surely will benefit from the example that you're giving, something maybe that didn't come to my mind or to Sheikh Zain's mind. Sheikh Zain, I want to give you another example. Something that we habitually do, people get married, right? People have children. These two things, the family in general, and especially getting married, because this is a program that's, inshallah, talking to the Muslim youth, who many of them either want to get married or are about to get married or have been recently married. So how can we make getting married, which is something, a habit for most people, that people do, or a part of life, quote unquote, a stage in life, how can we make that into a form of worship? And say to a brother and sister, they're married for 25 years or for 30 years, okay, before inshallah they meet in Jannah again. How can these 25 or 30 years, all the weeks in them, all the hours, all the minutes, and all the seconds, and all the milliseconds be in their scale of good deeds on the Day of Judgment?
Brother, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said, Ya ma'ashar al-shabab, alayka bizawaj, or kama qala Rasul ﷺ,
من استطاع منكم الباءة فليتزوج.
Yeah, young people, all you young people, whoever is able to marry, whoever is able to marry.
Yes.
And if you cannot, then alayka bisawm. And if you cannot, then you must fast, or you should fast. If you have the intention to get married, I mean, most of the time it's because you're really feeling it yourself that you want to marry somebody. But you should also make the intention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you want to get married for the sake of Allah. You want to get married because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said this in the hadith, to get married. So you make your intention that you want to get married because you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you know from this hadith that that getting married is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one form of getting the rewards. And this, could you imagine the amount of rewards that you would get if you were to be married for a very long time? And also you could make the intention that you want to look after a Muslim sister, that you want to look after her and help her through, and also help each other. Not only the sister help the brother. You want to get married because you want to help the brother, because you want to help the brother stay on his religion. You want to help him be firm in his religion. You don't want him to stray. So you make that intention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will have the reward from Allah azza wa jal, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala.
Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And of course, another huge intention that we can make, adding to your great points, is the establishing of the Muslim Ummah. Because really, the essence of the Muslim Ummah is the Muslim family. If we have great Muslim families, inshallah, individuals, and then of course families, then bi'idhnillah ta'ala, our ummah will be in better shape and will be the strongest of nations, inshallah. Allow me to take Brother Faisal from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Faisal. Brother Faisal is calling us through Skype. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Faisal. Unfortunately, for the second time, I think today, Brother Faisal is trying to call us and he's not getting
try
through.
for the third time, brother, inshallah.
Let's take Sister Hania from Kenya. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing, sisters? How you doing, sister? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and all brothers and sisters in Kenya. Ameen. Ramadan Kareem to you too. Do you have a comment or a question?
I think a sort of a contribution, I don't know. Let me just tell you. Once I remember my first meeting way back, listening to, for example, the hadith videos or like the program that you're doing now. Listening to such programs would be like when the angels view from the sky, your house would be sort of filled with light or something like that, huh? So maybe I would think, like if we normally, at least twice a week, especially during this month of Ramadan, to watch such programs daily.
Yes.
So maybe the intention behind it could be, one, okay, we get something out of it, and second should be that our house, when it came from up, would be enlightened, sort of light and filled with light. And thirdly, it would be that, okay, I listen to this program, and when I have a discussion of any sort with my friends, I would be able to contribute of what I heard, like sort of transferring what we have heard. So I don't know, probably this was
I get your point. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. That's a great point. So basically what you're saying, sister, is that you watch religious programs and you can make an intention from that to benefit yourself and also to benefit those who are around you.
Yeah, exactly.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
MashaAllah.
Great suggestion, subhanAllah.
That's a good advice.
I didn't think
sister.
of that before. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you, sister. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Jazakallah khairan. Sheikh Zain, we only have about a minute left in the segment. The episode always goes by so fast with you. Let's inshallah recap and to give us the take-home message, inshallah, when it comes to this issue. How can we get the freebies that we said by changing our everyday habits into a form of worship?
Brother, we have to be flexible. We have to try to be flexible in our lives. Some people try to use the excuse sometimes about changing habits. They say, oh, this is how I am. This is how I've been born. This is how I've been raised. But no, this is not an excuse for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. We have to be flexible to try and make that change. Some people are like a piece of steel. You know, they're quite firm and rigid. But a piece of steel can still bend, you know. You just have to sometimes give it a bit of a hit and warm it up a bit, you know. And inshallah, I mean, inshallah, some of us are like that. And some of us need to push ourselves. We need to push ourselves in this. We need to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout our lives. And this will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the important thing.
Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this evening. I really enjoyed it. Inshallah, you're going to be joining us in future episodes of this program. We're still on the 5th day of Ramadan. We still have a long way to go till the end of Ramadan. When it comes to the preparation, it feels like there's a lot of work when it comes to the preparation. But believe me, when it comes to actually Ramadan passing by, it's going to go by very fast. Jazakallah khair. Barakallah feek, and bi'idhnillah ta'ala, see you again soon, inshallah.
I look forward to it, brother, always. I look forward to it.
Barakallah feek. My dear brothers and sisters, please stay with me, inshallah, in the next segment. I'm going to be giving you the take-home message. Stay tuned, inshallah.
I am just a simple man, trying hard to understand.
Face Islam.
Muslims everywhere are faced with issues and situations every day. Let's find those solutions together, right here on Face Islam. Won't you join us here for Face Islam?
Face Islam with Sheikh Yusuf Estes and put all of those misconceptions to rest. Sheikh Yusuf addresses the most common misconceptions one by one and puts the critics to shame.
Provided that you do not use it to provoke your what you call your system to produce more saliva. It breaks your fast. Excessive bleeding. That makes the person weak during fasting.
Yes.
But the one who vomits deliberately, وَمَنِ اسْتَقَاءَ عَمْدًا فَلْيَقْضِي. The one who vomits deliberately, he should make it up. This is one type of people who fast just because they don't want to be embarrassed. The main criteria is those who fast just for any reason other than Allah.
However, you are still violating the rules of Allah. You are still not doing what He asks of you. How can you then get back so your heart is pure?
Providing food, I noticed that some people are doing it maybe in a way that makes it difficult for their family.
If the old person is generally fit, let's say, and they would like to observe the fasting, however, they would become a little bit faint, could they not you know, observe the fast a little bit.
Welcome, O Ramadan. You are honored, O month of the Quran. Lord, I am just a simple man trying hard to.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على الرسول الصادق الأمين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear brothers and sisters, as we talk today, on the Day of Judgment, a person will come and he will be begging, literally begging, for one good deed. One good deed, not so he can get by till the end of the month till he gets his next paycheck, but one good deed so that he can be freed from the hellfire and he can be entered into eternal bliss, into Jannah. And that one good deed can come very easily right now, and it could be multiplied multiple times by doing something very easy that we talked about tonight, which is change your everyday habits, the things that you normally do anyway. The things that whether you're a practicing Muslim or you're not a practicing Muslim, you're going to do them. Change them. Not only do them in the halal way, but do them in the halal way and get multiple good deeds for them. And you can do that bi'idhnillah ta'ala if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from you by making one very small change in your heart. One very small change in your heart, which is making the right intention. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, my dear brothers and sisters, says in a very, very famous and very Sahih hadith, he says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Surely, all actions are judged by intentions. And for every person is what he intends. Subhanallah. So if you make that right intention, and if you have an intention, even when it comes to the habitual things that we don't really think of them as forms of worship, they will be transformed from everyday habits to forms of worship that will bi'idhnillah ta'ala be in your scale of good deeds. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to seize the freebies. Seize the freebies and seize these great opportunities that we have bi'idhnillah ta'ala, so that when we come on the Day of Judgment, we're not one of those beggars who are asking for one good deed. And even if we are, then we at least know that we did our best and we were able to seize the opportunity. The opportunity to get the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obviously, on the Day of Judgment, this is part of our aqeedah, that no one will enter Jannah because of his or her good deeds, but ultimately through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we need to become deserving of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though it's so great. And one of the ways that we can become deserving of the great mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through this very simple act. An act that doesn't really go outside of your body. It's something that's inside of your heart. Making the right intention. The intention to become a person who changes his habits. The things that we do every single day, and to change them into things that we can get multiple rewards. Again, seize the freebies, seize the freebies, seize the freebies. Jazakumullahu khairan. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all of us, and I hope that this program is of benefit. This is a great way, my dear brothers and sisters, tonight, by seizing this great opportunity of changing the habits into forms of worship, of becoming one step closer. One step closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one step closer to Jannah, one step closer to receiving the forgiveness and freeing our necks from the hellfire in this beautiful month of Ramadan, inshaAllah. Finally, my dear brothers and sisters, stay in touch with us through our email throughout the week at steps@huda.tv. And also, inshallah, I'll be on Facebook right after the episode live with you, so that we can talk about the episode. You can share your thoughts with me, your comments. I'll try my best to answer your questions, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Jazakumullahu khairan. I'll see you again tomorrow night, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Please make dua for me, because preparing for this program is really a hard job. And it's very difficult. Make dua for all the brothers and sisters who work behind the scenes to make this program actually happen. A lot of people, mashallah, are working day and night, so we can make sure that we're with you live here every night, so that we can all, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, go together to Jannah, together to paradise, ila al-jannati zumara. Jazakumullahu khairan. I'll see you tomorrow night, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I am just a simple man, trying hard to understand. Where's my place in your great plan, oh Lord, Lord? I am just a simple man, trying hard to understand. Where's my place in your great plan, oh Lord? Help this man, help this man.